Well, what's happening, everybody, and good evening. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. It is the end of September already, but some exciting things are coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But before we get started tonight, I want to take a moment and just ask you all to send out a prayer or at least your thoughts to our friends in Florida and anyone in the path of Hurricane Helene. It looks like it's about to make landfall, I think, as a Category 4 hurricane, 130 mile an hour winds, and it's going to be a historic storm because most of the time these storms don't come up on that side of Florida and make landfall where it's going to be tracking to. So I think they said this is going to be the worst storm since the 1850 or 1851, something like that. So before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment and wish the best for all our friends and woodhounds and their families that are in the path of this storm. So it looks like it's going to be a doozy. But anyway, tonight we are sipping on something new for the first time ever. This was given to me, I believe, at the fellowship, and it made its way somehow to the back corner of my bourbon bar, and I didn't even realize I had it. I knew I had it, but I hadn't seen it, so it had kind of been out of sight and out of mind. But tonight we are sipping on Horse Soldier, small batch, and it's 94 proof, so it's right in my wheelhouse. And so with that, I'd just like to say thank you all for being here with me this evening, taking some time out of your day and evening, and cheers. Not bad. Not bad. So the days are getting shorter for sure. It's getting dark earlier, which I'm not a fan of. I don't know if you guys are, but the shorter days and the time hasn't even changed yet. But the shorter days definitely are not conducive to what I like to do, and that's be outside. But let's check in and see who's here. I saw people were trickling in as the countdown was going on. I think the first person that checked in here tonight was Larry and Robin from Outdoors with Larry and Robin. How are you doing this evening? Thanks for being here. Carl Lewis, the man with the plan, is here. Tim Stout, my buddy Joe Gilbert, and of course Jack from Log Cabin Firewood saying hello. 3 Green Acres Firewood, and my good old buddy Richard Titcomb from North Carolina. I don't know where you are in North Carolina there, Richard, but hopefully you're going to be out of the way of the storm. I think the west the western side of the Carolinas might be getting a little bit of this as well. Circle B, my man Ted Saul Surgeon. How are you doing, buddy? Are you going to make it to Bunyan this year? I hope to see you there. If you are, we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. We got lots to talk about Bunyan. Some things that you may or may not be aware of. So stay tuned for that. Mike Sherman, good evening. Yadkin Valley Outdoors, hello. And Rhodey is asking for help. I don't know why. Maybe I missed something there. And speaking of missing things, if you are new here, or if it's your first time, or if you have a question, we encourage everybody to get involved with the chat and talk to everybody that's here. But if you have a question for me or something you want to make sure that I see, type in all caps or put a Q in front of it or something, and that'll help get my attention so I don't miss it through the chat. TB, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you in here. Yep, this time next week, we will all be hopefully heading or arrived in Ohio. I will be there by this time next week. It's going to be a great time. Feel Good Firewood is here. The Hogs Logs, lift them glasses. It's Thirsty Thursday. Cheers to that, buddy. And good old Will Walcott from Walcott Family Works. All right. Let's get caught up here. I see Dean from outside in Michigan and Dick from Old Guy Firewood. We got a good group in here now. They were trickling in there in the beginning, but it looks like a lot of people have jumped into the stream. So definitely appreciate that. Jack, you still can't do bourbon? Well, that's a good thing. Just, stick with what you're good with. And Shibe doesn't do it either. Shibe dark liquor is off limits to Shibe. So whatever works for you. Frickin' Jeep is in here, John. I know he's going to be at the Paul Bunyan show this year with his saw blade. So if you're making the trip and you've never been before, make sure you stop by Frickin' Jeep's booth and put your John Hancock on the saw blade there. That's always fun to look back and see all the names of the people that stopped by the booth and signed the saw blade. All right, Super Kids Rockstar Videos is here. What's up, Hud man? Good to see you in here. He's been joining in on these live streams, so I hope you're enjoying it there, Hudson. And the very first super chat of the night from my man Don Shibe. Outside with Shibe, to the people of Florida, batten down the hatches. We are thinking of you. Absolutely. Ring the bell for that, and hopefully it is a bunch of hoopla and media coverage for nothing. Hopefully everybody is safe and it's not as big deal as we think it's going to be. So cheers to that, Shibe. Thank you for the super chat. And we certainly hope that they're all going to be good to go. Oh, Ted won't make it to Paul Bunyan this year. Well, I'm glad I got to meet you there. I think it was 2 years ago you were there, Ted. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to catch up again. And WD30 Adventures made it to the stream. Here he is with a super chat. I wasn't sure he was going to make it because he texted our group chat a little earlier and told us what he was doing. But he happily loaded up and headed to the butcher after dropping my truck at the house. Thank the big guy. So he was out with his dad tracking a deer this evening. They had a successful track and a successful recovery. So they're headed to the butcher, and they got some meat in the freezer. It is that time of year. Deer hunting has begun around here at least. And that's a nice early gift to stock up the freezer early in the season. And that's a good feeling because you can kind of, if you're waiting for the big boy, it makes it a little easier to sit and let the smaller ones pass by now that you got meat in the freezer. First question up, we forgot to give the super chat ring. To Will, WD30 Adventures, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And the very first question of the night comes from the Hogs Logs. Hey, Brad, I gave you horse shoulder at Bunyan last year. Glad you finally broke it out. Good stuff. So that's the man right there that hooked me up with this. I couldn't remember where it came from. I knew I was gifted it from somebody, but it's a really cool bottle, really cool label. And this will be a bottle that when it's empty, I'll hold on to. I won't get rid of the bottle because it's pretty neat. And it's small batch and it's 94 proof, so it's really, really good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, and I'm enjoying it tonight. John Dodge is in here telling us all to have a great time. And yes, Jack says cues work best for the questions. They do. Not too many words in the chat that you see a cue with, so that hopefully gets my attention. All right, Rolando has a question. Anyone have an opinion on a skip chain? So you're going to have to watch the chat for this one there, Rolando, because I have thought about trying a skip chain, but have never done so. Much quicker to sharpen, I know, because obviously you have less teeth to sharpen, but I don't think they stay sharp quite as long, if my understanding is correct on that. But they do run a little faster. They run a little faster because there's not as much drag because there's not as many teeth. So hopefully somebody can give us some input on that. And Shive just let us know that Dean from outside in Michigan picked up a 916. Well, congratulations, Dean, if you're still in here. That is awesome. You're going to love it. Another 916 there, Jack. Great machines, and I'm going to have to check that out. I don't know if he's got any videos out on it yet or not, but I'm going to have to check that out. Frickin' Jeep will be at booth 107. 107, which is kind of on the outer ring, behind the grandstands kind of area, behind the buildings. As you walk in and walk on the outer ring, he'll be on the left-hand side if that's the same spot he's always been. I'm pretty sure he got the same location. Britt Everhart, good evening. Glad to see you here. And yeah, good group in here now. Old guy Firewood with a question. Don't I remember Shive drinking liquor with you one evening a few years ago? I'm sure you remember that time I'm talking about. Well, yeah. Have you been with the channel for a while and with the live streams for a while? Shive was here one night, and I was excited, and I can't say I was young and dumb because it was only a couple years ago, but I thought I could keep up with him. It didn't pan out too well. It was a hurting puppy the next day. But yeah, I learned my lesson on that one. And that's something that if you can learn your lesson and not let it happen again, then it's a good experience, right? And it hasn't happened again. Yeah, but Shibe should not be drinking liquor. That's orders from Sam, his handler. Yeah, man, that's awesome, Dean. I definitely got to check you out there. All right, so everybody's talking about Bunyan. We might as well get into that. I'm sure I'm way behind on the chat, but I want to talk about Bunyan because there's a couple things that I think if you don't know that you'll be excited to know, especially if you're going to be attending the event. The first thing is I shared something the other day that the Paul Bunyan Facebook page put out talking about the people who normally fly in on helicopters, which I kind of joked and said I was going to have to change my plans, but obviously that's not true. But there are some big high rollers that fly into the show on their helicopters, and they normally are able to land nearby. Well, they put out news that the helicopters are no longer going to be able to land there. They're going to have to land at the local airport and get a car to the show because the show has apparently expanded, which is awesome news. Now, I don't know what kind of vendors or what kind of equipment or what kind of setup they're going to have as far as the expansion goes. I guess we'll find out when we get there next week. But that's some pretty awesome news that the show is growing. So, yeah, we'll report in on that and let you know what's new and what's been added. So that's exciting news. The other exciting news about Paul Bunyan, if you checked out Andrew Easton's post earlier today in his video that he put out, the Eastern Loggers Facebook group, which is a group of loggers who have a community of loggers and woodsmen who who form this group of guys and girls. What they do is they help injured people in the community, or people who are suffering or battling an illness in the community. They do a lot of great work. Now, normally at this Paul Bunyan show, they promote their group, and they sell calendars, which are really nice calendars. I normally grab one every year and hang it in my office at work. That's got some really great photos of companies and loggers from across the country that you can check out. Good photographs. But this year, they are actually doing a raffle where you can win an Easton-made Ultra log splitter. It's $10 a ticket, or three tickets for $20. And in addition to the splitter raffle, they also are going to have chainsaws and some other items as well. So if you're going to the show, make sure you check out its booth. Let me see. I got it written down here. Booth 109 behind the grandstands. Skidder Kev is normally hanging out there, and some other guys. And make sure you grab your raffle tickets. I mean, it would be awesome to win one of those prizes, but it's also awesome just to support that cause, because they do a lot of really great work. So Andrew put that out. If you want more details or want to see what's going on with that, check out the video that he just put out, I think just a couple hours ago. But yeah, I know I'm going to be grabbing some tickets as well. So 2 really good points there about the Paul Bunyan show if you're going. And it's going to be a great time. So expansion and the raffle. So that's Paul Bunyan. Let's talk about Hope, which has already been done a couple weeks ago. We all went up there. There was lots of content put out about the Hope event, but they've already got it scheduled for next year. So check out York Firewood for all the updates on next year's Hope event. And if you caught my video last week, you kind of heard me allude a little bit to that should, in my opinion, become the East Coast Woodsman's event. A lot of people can't travel all over the country to all these shows, or can only go to 1 or 2 shows, work conflicts, family conflicts, totally understandable. But if you're on the East Coast and you can make it to one event a year, I think if we could grow this Hope event, it would be really, really awesome. I mean, we grew it this year and slayed through some wood. I think the estimated count was 50 to 55 full cords of wood split in one day by those of us that showed up. People came with their splitters. People came with their tractors. People came with just themselves and their manpower. And it was a fantastic day. Again, I know that Ken was from York Firewood. Ken was very overwhelmed with the showing and the amount of work that got done. They had a pile of wood, and I would say we pretty much got it all done for them. So they work hard throughout the year to get their inventory built up so that when we roll in, we can get to work. So, yeah, Hope event was a success. You leave there feeling great. When you leave at the end of the day, you are wore out. Believe me, I was spent. I was ready to get home and get a shower and get in bed. But man, when you're just on the drive home, reflecting on the day and what it's about and what it does, and hearing the people speak about the things that they do for others, it just makes you feel good. And you get to spend the day with all the woodhounds and bust each other up and crack jokes with each other and run some great equipment. So it's a good time. It really is. All right. We got Hope covered. We got the Paul Bunyan show covered. Let's try to get caught up with this chat. Logger Jason had a question here about what is your preference for a Wisconsin Old Fashions, whiskey or brandy, sweet or sour? Well, I'm not sure what a Wisconsin Old Fashioned is, but I enjoy Old Fashions, and which is, when you're mixing a drink, it's not really as important what bourbon you use. I mean, I'll use something like Bullet or Buffalo Trace in my Old Fashions, but it's basically the bourbon, the bitters, the simple syrup, and my personal opinion is the type of cherry that you use makes a big difference. And of course, some orange zest. But the cherries, I forget the name of the cherry. Maybe somebody can help me out. Starts with an M. Marciato or Manchi, I don't know. I'm going to say it wrong. It sounds like Shibe in here. Trying to pronounce words I can't. But the cherries make a big difference for me. So maybe if that's not what a Wisconsin old fashioned is, you can tell me what it is. And there is Ken's Cuts. Greetings, men. Ken, I should have wore your shirt tonight. Ken sent me a shirt the other day, and I got it, and it's in my drawer, ready to be worn. But it's a brand new shirt, so I don't want to get it dirty. So I've been kind of saving it when I know I'm not going to be dealing with firewood or out in the grapple truck or something like that. I should have put it on tonight, Ken. I apologize. But yeah, Ken's Cuts has shirts available. So if you are interested in helping out Ken and showing some support for his channel, reach out. You can grab a shirt for Ken's Cuts. And here is Ted with some knowledge on skip chains. Full skip works pretty well with lower powered saws, allows for higher RPMs when in larger rounds. So there you go, Rolando. The man that would know. I'm going to bring the works to Bunyan and make a few. Bring the works to Bunyan and make a few. Well, Logger Jason, if you're talking about drinks, make sure I get to try it out. I'm always, especially if it involves bourbon. If it involves bourbon, I'm always up to try something new. I'm not a big vodka guy. I'm not a big gin guy or even rum. But so yeah, I'm way behind because we're all still talking about skip chains. Miller Stumps and Firewood, how you doing tonight? Thanks for stopping in. Feel Good Firewood. When you switch to bunkers, what is your plan for loading out of them for deliveries? Well, that is going to be content to come because I really don't have an answer to that question yet. My plan, and then if you're on this live stream, you're going to get a little bit of a heads up because this is something I was going to talk about here in a couple weeks after we get back from the Bunyan show when I actually start this transition. But I think for the perimeter of my bunkers, I'm going to use IBC tote cages rather than standing pallets up and trying to wire them together like Chris does in the wood yard. I know that works well for him, but I've got enough IBC totes where I think I can outline my bunkers with them. They'll be empty so that you still get good airflow through them. And if I need to wire them together to keep them from shifting, I can do that. And they won't be busting out or breaking or rot away or anything like that. As far as loading out of them, y'all saw yesterday's video, me trying to load firewood with the grapple truck, which I don't know. It worked okay, but I think that there might have been a better way. Some of you said in the comments to turn the grapple 90 degrees and pick it up from the side, but then I would have just been down on top of my dividers. That's the only reason I didn't try to do it that way initially. But once I get the bunkers and I have a cone pile of firewood, I might try the grapple truck. If not, we'll be loading by hand again, or maybe loading a skid loader bucket and dumping into the trailer. I've got a pretty large bucket for the skid loader, so if it works better that way, it's going to be a trial and error thing. I guess that's the best answer. I'm going to try a little bit of everything, see what works the best, and see what I like the best. So sorry, not a definite answer, but if you got other ideas, let me know. Nick, just signing in from Rhode Island. Good evening. Glad to see you stop by. We appreciate that. Lots of good chat in here about the skip chains. So thank you all for helping him out because I definitely did not have any experience. Tie Man is here. Yes, it is Thirsty Thursday, Tie Man. Can always count on you to be the first comment when I post the thumbnail. Yeah, Eastern Loggers are 30,000 strong. Go to their Facebook page and it'll ask, if you join the group, it'll ask you a couple questions about what brought you to their page, or and where you're from, something like that. I just put in that Skidder Kev brought me to the page, and they accepted me. So I guess that's an acceptable answer. Circle B. Has there been any info as to how to get a raffle ticket without attending the show? I did not hear about anything as far as that goes, but I'm sure that there's a way that they're going to be able to make that happen. So reach out to either Skidder Kev or Andrew, and I'm sure that they can give you some information on that. But Glowing Firewood, New Jersey. Do you know if you have to be there to get one? Because I have to work and would love to be in the raffle. Yeah, so I guess that's some information maybe I should have got. Let me see if I can. I don't think Andrew's in here. Let me send Andrew a message real quick, and we'll see if we can get an answer to that question since everybody has it. Hold on one second. If they are not at the show. All right, so maybe we'll get an answer here in a second, and I will be able to answer it for everybody. Hardworking man is in the house tonight. Heath, how you doing, buddy? Looking forward to the show and to winning one of my favorite splitters, the Ultra. Can't stay long, have to sleep a bit before work. Well, be safe, buddy. Get some rest. Make sure you're well rested. Thanks for stopping in and saying hello. We will see you here next week, hopefully. Joe's Firewood videos finally made it. Sorry you're late. Well, no problem, Joe. I haven't caught up with your arm situation in the past week or so. I hope that some progress is being made at least. I've been thinking about you and hoping that they can figure out or at least get you some relief here soon. Just looking for cues now, trying to get caught up. Rachel is here as well, it looks like. I think I saw Rachel's name go by. Oh, tell Rachel not to get me in trouble again. Old guy Firewood's telling Heath. It's always a good time. Always a good time. The later in the night it gets, the better it is. And there is York Firewood as well. I apologize. I'm way behind in the chat there, Ken. But we have a response from Andrew here. And he says, I don't think they have any way to sell if they aren't there at the show. So that's what he thinks. That's not definite. But yeah, it looks like you have to be at the show to get the tickets. But if you know somebody going, maybe they can make that happen for you. Now, I'm not asking everybody to call me and message me, but if you got somebody near you that might be going to the show or somebody close by, then maybe you could work it out. First generation farmer. Any clue what 50 ash firewood bundles are worth? And they are 1 cubic feet in size, and they have wrap on them. Well, I don't know where you're located, but location is a big factor. I can tell you that I currently sell my bundles, which are a little over 1 cubic foot, around 1.2, 1.3. And I try to exclusively use ash. So I can give you my price. It'd be about $350 at $7 a bundle. Now, if somebody's going to buy all of them or buy bulk, I do offer a little bit of a discount on that. But I wrap my bundles as well. So here in Maryland, where I am, they would be $350. So there you go. Joe, if the Tigers face the Orioles in the playoffs, what are we betting? Well, you're gonna have to send me a text, Joe. If you want to place a bet, I will participate. However, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Orioles here lately. They have certainly crested the hill, and they're on the downward slope as far as I'm concerned. It's been kind of disappointing the second half of the season, and they were off to a great start. All right, I see everybody's answering these questions. There we go. Joe Gilbert. Yeah, that's the cherries, but I'm not going to try to say it. I'm not even going to try it, but that's it. That's the good cherries right there. Oh, man. Buck and Firewood, does anyone know how to remove the stupid heart thing blocking the chat? I'm not sure. I guess you're on your phone. You try turning your phone the other way? That might help. I'm not sure what kind of phone you're on. Logger Jason says, my 6-year-old says no simple syrup, only maple syrup. I have never tried it that way. Never even thought about that. That might be good. That might be good. Oh, good. Dick, I'm glad you got up with him. I hope that contact that I tried to hook you up with worked out for you. Joe Gilbert won the Mingo marker from Old Guy Firewood's channel. So that's pretty cool. Jack is trying to get a job loading trailers. He's going to work for Firewood loads of firewood logs. A lot of people are using IBC totes for the outer perimeter of their bins. Cool. I have to check you guys out and maybe try to learn from your mistakes if you get there before me. Have you given any thought to some kind of water barrier under the wood piles? Yeah, John, I'm going to double stack pallets. I'm going to double stack them so that they're off. Everything's going to stay off the ground. I certainly am not putting anything on the ground. I think that's probably the number one killer of trying to dry firewood is putting it on the ground. So double stacking pallets. That's what I'm going to do. And WD is saying you cannot get tickets unless you're at the show. Joe, what did you do to get banned from Eastern Loggers? That's a good group of people, man. They're all good guys. They do good things. Adirondack Woodsman, good evening. Thanks for stopping by. And Jeff has a question here. Hey, Brad, what are you going to use for the bottom of your bunkers? Pouring a pad or using pallets? Yeah, just pallets for now. I don't know if concrete might be in the future or not. I do have times when I can get leftover concrete at a really good price. So if this works out well, that might be something that I consider in the future. But I'm not going to pay the current price of concrete to put firewood on. I'm going to try the pallets first, and hopefully that'll work out well enough. I mean, it works out great in my rows in that field with the sun and the wind all the time. So I don't see why it's going to be any problem with the cones. But this is an ever evolving adventure for all of us, right? That's why we're in this community, because we all learn from each other, the things that work, the things that don't work, the mistakes we make. And so it's just going to be evolving as we go here. And another super chat here from Marlon L. Hi, Brad. Looking to the Paul Bunyan show and a sip of Eagle Rare. Very good, Marlon. Yes, sir. Cheers to that for sure. You all know Eagle Rare is my absolute favorite, not only because I love the way it tastes, but it's got the bald eagle on the bottle. And I just happened to acquire this year's Paul Bunyan Show bottle today. And here it is. This is the one that is coming to Paul Bunyan. You all know that I always bring a bottle to share with everybody of my favorite bourbon. So there it is right there. They're hard to find around here sometimes, and you got to know somebody because they're allocated and they only get so many of them. So a couple stores around here know me, and they put one behind the counter, and when I come in, they normally have one for me. So fortunately, I stopped in there today and was able to grab one. So we will have you covered at the show, Marlon. Thank you again for the super chat. In the Backyard with Dell is here. I know he's coming to Paul Bunyan. Be great to see him again. Good evening to you, sir. And there's Jack is putting the link in the chat for you to check out the video, how to win the Easton Made Ultra. I know that Andrew has been sharing that on quite a few of the Facebook groups. Unfortunately, I think one or two of the groups have taken it down because I guess it violates some kind of community standard that you can't promote another business, which I don't get. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's not another business. It's a charity and a fundraiser for a wonderful cause. So if you can't find the link, there you go right there. Thank you, Jack, for throwing that in there. And another super chat here from Sean. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if he had a 500 eye? Cheers to you, Sean. Well, if you have a 500 eye, you can chuck a lot more wood than you've been chucking before. That's for sure. Yeah, man. Thank you for the super chat there. And is anybody that's here in the chat tonight coming to Paul Bunyan for the very first time? Like put a bunch of stars or exclamation points or something in the chat if you're going to be attending the Paul Bunyan show this year for the very, very first time. Because we got to fill you in on all the behind the scenes places that you need to be and when. Just curious if there's going to be any new faces there this year. Be willing. For those not going to Bunyan but want to get a raffle ticket, you could probably make a donation to the Eastern Loggers. Yeah, I would reach out to them. I would join their Facebook group and reach out to them. They're pretty responsive. They've got several administrators on that group. So I think you could get a response directly from them, and that's probably your best bet. Yes, Kurt, I think you're probably right. I assume the Ultra winner would be required to haul it away before the end of the show. Now, I will tell you this. This year at the fellowship, we had a brand new Easton Made Ultra that came from that Andrew brought with him to the fellowship for the customer who purchased that splitter to pick up here. If you remember that, they drove all the way across the country to pick up that machine and hauled it away with like a Nissan or a Mazda or something, a little four-door car. So, and they said it trailered really well on the way home. They had absolutely no problems. So even if you don't have a truck and you win the splitter, you should be able to get it home. But yes, I would imagine that's going to be going with you if you win it. So good point there, Kurt. Hopefully it's on the back of my truck. Oh, man. Yes, Ken. Yep. Pallets for the bunker floor. Yes, Carnes DIY. I did see that. Firewood at the Hill has started using totes around his piles as well. I was going to hopefully, if he's there this year at Bunyan, I was going to make a point to have a conversation with him about that. And Uncle Den is telling me how to talk. Ready? Everybody say it together. Maraschino. Maraschino cherries. Maraschino. That's it. My wife knows how to say it because she knows which one to buy. But, yeah, I always forget. TB, I think it's going to be 2 or 3 medium piles. I'm going to, what my plan is, I'm going to put the STK-24 conveyor over where the first bunker is going to be set up, and I'm going to put the tires right on the edge of the stone pad that I built this past year. I'm going to drop a plumb bob string down from the front of the conveyor and see where that lands, and that will be the center of my bunker. And I will measure from the stone to the center, and whatever that distance is, I'm going to measure to the back, and that'll be the back wall of the bunker, and basically a square, and we'll pile it up until it makes a nice size cone, and then we'll move the conveyor over and start another bin. I don't know how much wood that's going to end up being. We'll have to make a rough estimate, but we'll find out after the first year. But that's my plan. That's my plan. Hopefully it all works. It all sounds right in my head, but until you do it, sometimes there's things you forget about or overlook or don't think about. Tony Woods, thank you. Happy Thirsty Thursday to you as well. Yep, Jack, you're going to have to make an exception. The Eagle Rare will be on display for everyone. Not only on display, but offered to anyone who would like to try it. Oh, Ken from York Firewood's in Texas right now, enjoying the warm air. Well, I hope you get back across, or whatever your path of travel is out of the way of this storm that's making landfall here. Logger Jason, we are staying at the Fairfield Inn in Cambridge, Ohio. That is where a lot of us stay. It's not where all of us stay. There's a couple hotels all right in the same area, but the Fairfield Inn in Cambridge, Ohio is where the Friday night live stream will be on Back 40 Firewood's channel. It's kind of like the central location in the evening. We kind of take over the lobby, and we all have a good time. So if you're staying down there, even if you're not staying at that hotel, you're welcome to join us in the lobby. People come from the other hotels, and we all hang out. So, yeah, the Fairfield Inn, that's where we'll be. John, I do not know where Eyedropper Dan is, but I always have his stuff here on the ready. The Back 40 Firewood official drink mixing kit. So if he does get here, hopefully he'll be able to participate in a drink with us all. The Adirondack Woodsman will be at Bunyan Friday and Saturday. Man, it is getting so close. I get excited for this show months in advance, but the week before it starts getting really exciting. So it is literally here. Oh, Logger Jason, you're staying there as well. Very good. Then you'll be right in the mix of it. Uh-oh. And he is a first timer. Well, there you go. That's what I wanted to make sure you knew, is to be at the Fairfield on Friday night. Make sure you have your dinner early. Go to the show on Friday if you're in town. Even if you only get in town on Friday, you'll be able to see the whole show on Saturday and maybe a little Sunday if you stay. But if you get in town on Friday, have your dinner early and make sure you're at the hotel, I'd say by 7:30 before the live stream starts. Get to meet all the faces with a lot of these names in here, which is really, really awesome. And another first trip to Bunyan. Wiley's Firewood's going to be there. Well, same thing goes for you. Make sure you, I mean, you'll see a lot of us at the show, obviously, but everybody, it's so big that everybody's moving around and checking out the equipment, checking out the vendors and eating and all that good stuff. And you might bump into people, but, and if you do bump into us, make sure you say hello. Like, sometimes I'm in conversations with people and talking to people at the show, and I'll see somebody walk by and they'll kind of be looking over like they want to say hello or they want to talk or they want to ask a question or something. and they see me talking to somebody else, don't worry about that. Come on up. Like I see people I want to talk to, and I try to tell myself the same thing. Just going up, stand there. They'll see you standing there and say hello and introduce yourself, because I love putting names with the faces. That's one of the best things about going to the show, is being able to actually meet the people that you see, that the names go by in here all the time, or see people in the comments. Make sure you say hello to us. Let us know who you are. Because a lot of us now, after going a couple of years, we already know who everyone is. So the new faces are really the ones that I want to meet. John says, just put it on top of your car. Why put it on top of your car? It's got a hitch and it's got wheels, tires. It might be small, but it's mighty. It is small and mighty. I love that machine. So Chaz and I were out running around today, and we stopped at a local tractor supply store, and they had a 500i on the shelf at a pretty good price. So we grabbed it up, and here in the next month or two, you remember saying the next saw that we raffled was going to benefit Hope. So we're going to give that a little bit of time here, but we already picked up a saw, and we may do 2 saws this time, but it is going to benefit Hope. I forgot to mention that earlier when we were talking about it this year, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. We really want to try to build that event up and grow it every year, because I bet they're going to be busting their butts all year long to make sure that there's enough wood for us to split. It was close this year. I mean, it was the end of the day when we finally got to the end of the pile. But if we would have ran out, I think they would have wished they had more wood there for us to split. Yep. Yeah, James, I'm not going to be able to use the skid steer to push wood into the bunker, because it's going to be off the ground on pallets. And that skid loader will just bust the pallets up and probably put holes in my tires. So I'm just going to try to measure it to where it'll work good with the conveyor, where it's set up. And when it's filled up, we'll just move it and we'll start another bin. Glowing Firewood. The Facebook page Eastern Loggers is not coming up. Does anyone have a link? Can somebody, Jack, maybe you can throw it in there? I know it. I was just on it earlier this evening, so I know it's there. I know it's active. Maybe you already did, because I'm behind here, but oh, okay. It looks like you're taking care of it already. I knew you'd take care of that, buddy. There it is. Yep, some people do walk to the Marriott uphill both ways. Some people get a ride in a truck. But we'll make sure everybody's safe and everybody gets where they need to go. That's for sure. Shibe's going to have refreshments with him, no doubt. Shibe, don't forget, I'm bringing you something and you're bringing me something. Make sure you give me that phone call and remind me, though. I let you down at Hope and didn't bring your package, but I will definitely make sure I have it at Bunyan. James says, bring warm clothes. I haven't even looked at the forecast for Ohio yet. Going to be a little chilly. All right, Tony Woods. Hi, Brad. I watched how you took care of loading your firewood from your pallets with the grapple truck, or crappy truck. I knew a guy that used a 4-bucket Michigan loader, and he took the firewood splits. Yeah, I think that is probably could be refined a little bit, and might. It was definitely quicker. and a lot less labor on me, but it was a little messy, but it worked. Dave, no, Val and the kids are not coming. Brady has a baseball tournament for that weekend, so Val is staying back. And another great bit of news is what's today? Thursday. Yesterday he got cleared, or Tuesday. Tuesday he got cleared from his doctor and his physical therapy. He can start playing ball again, so he's super excited. He went to his first practice the other night with his team back on the field, and man, he's smiling ear to ear. So he's not going to be pitching quite yet. We're going to work up to that, but he'll be able to play middle infield, shortstop, second base, wherever they decide to put him, and be back in the game. So that's another bit of good news for you. And another great question here from Dick. Chaz originally was not coming. If he is getting married the weekend after Bunyan. So we've got a big wedding planned and a lot of stuff going on. So he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it, but he told me yesterday that he is going to make the trip, and he'll be staying with me in the same hotel. So he will be there. He had a great time meeting everybody last year. He told me that last year he felt like he was kind of reserved because he was just getting to meet everybody. But now that he knows a lot of you, he feels more comfortable. So he's got some ideas of stuff he wants to bring home with him. And he's coming along again this year, so he'll be there. I tried to get him to come tonight, but he's got a lot going on, understandably. Look who it is. The man himself. Dan the man, sorry I'm late. Don't forget to pack your dropper for Bunyan. I'll need you to mix me a few cocktails. It's always on the ready, my friend. And you remember, all the directions are here, so if you don't forget, it says take a glass of your choice and pack it as tightly as possible with ice as to fill as little alcohol as possible. Next, fill it to the top with soda of your choice. And finally, use this official Back 40 Firewood measuring device to put 1 to 3 drops of Captain Morgan into your drink. This will give you the ideal mix to drink like Shifty. There you go. I mean, I found it on eBay and I bought it. So I will have it with me, buddy. I'm sure you have plenty of them, but I'll bring them just in case. I know you're a popular guy and a lot of people want to be, like you or envy you or follow you. So there's going to be a lot of people that want to drink exactly what you're drinking. So I will make sure that we're able to fulfill the needs of all the people that need to mix a drink, especially just like you do. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. Cheers. And Jack says 40s at night, 70s during the day. That is awesome. I think that's awesome. We'll be able to sit outside around the fire. I don't know if Shibe is going to bring his Shibe, are you bringing your smokeless fire pit and your kiln oven dried wood? But 40s at night, that'll be perfect to have a fire outside out back of the hotel. Ron Brooks with a quick hello to everybody, Brad and family. Hello, Ron. Thanks for stopping in. Ken, I don't know what's happening Thursday night. This will be the first year that I came in on Thursday. Normally I come in on Friday around lunchtime, but we'll have to wait and see what's going on Thursday evening. Just text the group chat and let me know what you guys are getting into, and I'll spread the word. Ken, I don't know if Danny's here, but if Danny is here with you tonight, make sure you tell him that I said hello as well. James, I talked about that earlier. If I turned the grapple 90 degrees when I picked up that firewood, I would have knocked the dividers out or crushed the dividers and not been able to get down on top of in between the firewood pieces. So that's why I tried doing it the way I did it. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a different way. I don't know. That was just my thoughts initially. Hopefully Dan was still here since I'm so far behind in the chat to hear that little dissertation. I'm sure he'll return some fire on me tomorrow night. But it's all good. And John will be bringing Dan's string telephone. He had it at Hope. We all tried to call Dan from Hope, but just couldn't get through. I think he had like kite string on that phone. I think we need to upgrade it maybe to like clothesline string or something. Put a little more voltage through that string. Maybe we could have got out to Wisconsin. I don't know. All right. Looks like I am caught up on the chat finally. Sorry about that. Shive, are you bringing your fire pit? I saw Ken said he can bring one. If not, I can bring mine if not, but I just figured that was one of the things that you packed last year. You were going to pack it again this year. So how's everyone's firewood sales going? Those of you that are selling firewood, is everybody sold out yet, or are you getting those calls yet? Because the first cool evenings, I know my phone has been kind of blowing up here and there. Jack, you got to let me know what you have ready, if anything. I know you've got your own customers, but if you've got anything ready that you don't have customers for, I might be able to send somebody your way. So yeah, let me know what you got ready. Everything that I have is already spoken for. I just got to get it all hauled out. And then we start building inventory for next year, right? So that is the plan anyway. What is Cat 6? That's like internet cable, I think there, John. Yeah, that's internet cable. First Generation Farmer says that his firewood sales are starting to pick up now. And Logger Jason, like myself, out of firewood for the year already. I am convinced, and I say it every year, you know, as disappointing as it is to tell customers no, that you don't have any seasoned dry firewood available, I'm convinced that no matter how much I made, I would be in the same situation because I could make double, and I think I could still sell it pretty quickly. Adirondack Woodsman says bundle sales have been good, and he's not doing bulk wood this year. Yeah, that's a transition that I've considered, but I don't know how I would do that with my existing customers, because obviously the profit margin's much greater for smaller quantities. But I've had such good customers, and I take care of them every year. I didn't take any new customers this year at all, not one. Everybody from last year has returned year after year, and I didn't entertain any new customers at all because I knew all my returning people would be grabbing up everything that I had available. You got about 4 cord left, Jack? All right. I might be able to send you somebody actually for 2 cord tonight. Let me I'll reach out to him after the live stream and see. He's local too, only about 4 or 5 miles from your place. Ken's Cuts has 2.5 cord left. And Willie's Firewood sells 95% green, so they're never out of wood. Well, if you got people that will buy green wood and know it's green and they're good with it, that's a win for everybody involved. I've been selling a lot of firewood log length logs from the grapple truck here recently. I put a Facebook Marketplace ad up last week, and I actually need to take it down because I've got orders now for all the wood that we have stored at the yard. So, I mean, it's always constantly coming in, but a couple guys had said that they would buy it green. So the word is out. And like I predicted, the more people that know about this truck and what we can do with it, I think the busier it's going to get. So yeah, if you have customers that will buy green wood from you, that's a great thing. Mike Sherman's got a couple cords left. Need to inventory up for next year. Yep, it's that time. You always got to stay ahead. You're never caught up. You just gotta know that going into this firewood thing. You're never going to be caught up, and you always got to stay ahead. Oh wow, Bert's Custom Cuts. They got about 150 cord. Is that full cord? 150 full cord, I assume, ready to sell. Very, very good. All right. Well, we are into overtime. Still 106 people in here, but I think I've pretty much covered everything that I had on my agenda for tonight. Once again, I do want to make sure we all keep our friends down in Florida and in the path of this storm. I mean, obviously we're not going to be affected by it here in Maryland, but I do track these things and I do watch these things because they're devastating, and hopefully everybody's prepared. I saw the National Weather Service actually put out a thing ahead of time and said, not if, but when we tell you to take shelter, please do it, because it's going to happen. Jim Lashbrook, Cambridge may be under a burning ban. We are here in Zanesville, 20 minutes to the west. Even for recreational fires, huh? Yeah, I don't know how it works out in Ohio, but I know here in Maryland, when there's a burn ban, they don't issue permits for things like burning piles of brush or leaves or whatever in your yard or anything like that. But recreational fires are still permissible. So I'm curious under that burn ban if recreational fires are included in that. So 150 full cord, that's what you got there, and more to make. So I'm sure all that'll go. That's a lot of wood. That is awesome. There is Brad 6. I'm pretty sure that you're selling everything you got too as well. I saw you've been making some deliveries there, which is good. Yes, John, I will be there on Thursday, probably around lunchtime, if I get out of here at a reasonable hour in the morning and can get going. How's my 10 cord order going? Still about halfway. I got about halfway, and then I've been concentrating on delivering winter wood for this year to my heating wood customers. But I will get back on that here soon as all my customers are taken care of. But Jeff, that's not an urgent matter. I normally like to get that done before I start delivering my winter wood. But this greenwood order is for next year's burning, so it's not urgent, and I'll just have to get to that when I get to it. Carl Lewis, the man with the plans, heading out. Good night to you. Ron Brooks, have a great evening. It looks like people are heading out. And the Hogs Logs wants an update on the bridge in Baltimore. Well, they finally signed a contract with a new builder. They're designing the new bridge, and I guess they've got it funded. They've got the contractor. It's going to take a long time, several years to get done. But that's all I know about that. The Key Bridge, when it collapsed, was a huge impact to travel around Baltimore, which is about an hour south of me. Yeah, Marlon, how about everybody giving me a thumbs up? That'd be great. All right. Good night, everybody from First Generation Farmer. Have a great evening, and I think I'm going to wrap it up as well. I hope to meet all these new people at Bunyan this year, and those returning people that I haven't seen since last year, I'm looking forward to seeing you again as well. Always a great time. And yeah, it's right around the corner now, so it won't be long. Thanks to all the moderators. Thank you to the super chatters, and a special thank you to everybody who joined in the chat and made this thing go for an hour and 8 minutes now. But we are heading out, and you'll be seeing everything that's going on here at Paul Bunyan coming up. I'm sure there'll be plenty of content. I hope somebody in this chat tonight is going to end up going home with an Easton Made Ultra. I would love to see somebody win that we know here from this community. So until next Thirsty Thursday, which is always the last Thursday of the month, we will see you in October, the end of October, right before the election day. And I won't get political, but I will tell you it's a big election, and please do your research, get out and vote, and learn about the issues and what you're voting for. So that's as far as I'll go with that one. Thank you, everybody, for being here again, and have a great night. We'll see you soon.